it's a porous hardscape material that can be used, and we've gone to these different trainings in the city or the county of Riverside that shows that the material that can be used as water is poured upon this will then seep through a little bit easier than normal hardscape and go down into the aquifer a little bit easier. And so using less of the typical hardscape of asphalt and concrete and stuff will allow that to happen as well. But also working with the DWP, we're able to run more of the recycled water lines throughout our city. And we are expanding that to fire hydrants, and we're expanding that to our parks. 90% of our parks are water with recycled water. And we're also working with the business districts and the warehouse districts to run recycled waters to their mainline sewers for restroom usage as well. So we're using more and more recycled water as possible as we can in the city of Corona.
Do you support or oppose the changes to the immigration law?
I will start that. The immigration issue is extremely convoluted. I'll take a little time with this one, since I was the one who had to get in front of the camera most of the time. First, the issue was never about race for the city of Murrieta, as it was portrayed by several news channels. It was about a broken policy. The interesting thing is both the president and the House say it's broken. Whether you have an R or a D after your name, they say it's broken. But yet, they haven't been able to separate other party line issues to address this singular item that is broken. The protest that was in Murrieta, there was behavior that was unfortunate and not welcome in our city. I want to reiterate that. In no way did the city ever endorse the horrible behavior that was on the news. The problem with it is you're dealing with two things, and I was listening very closely to both sides of that protest line. You have laws that are in place, and we cannot be able to do that. But at the same time, we still need to be compassionate. While it's not my responsibility, nor do I have the authority to enforce federal law, no matter how anyone gets here, you need to treat them with compassion. And when you separate the two and you think of it like that, let the federal authority enforce their responsibility. Our job is to make sure, my job at the time was to make sure my residents stayed safe and everyone who passed through it stayed safe. And that's the way.
Number one, no, I don't support changes to our current immigration laws. I think our current immigration laws are in place for a reason. If you look back in history, there was a 1986, a Republican, Ronald Reagan, he signed what was known as an amnesty bill, and it changed nothing. So we're 20 plus years, almost 20 years down the road, and we're dealing with the same issue. So no, we have existing laws that we're not enforcing. But I want to say that I too believe that we need to be compassionate with people when they come to this country. But if they violate the law, then it has to be processed as quickly and as humanely as possible. The other statistic to understand is that I understand is that it is not just the border crisis. One of our major immigration problems is we have people who come to this country legally but overstay their visas, and nothing's done about that. So, and it's not just Hispanic population, it's from worldwide population.
Most of it is from the quality of the community members. From you raising your children, how you're raising them, from people volunteering to coach, getting out there. It's from the community working together as a partnership with the city, as the city's meant as a support. Sometimes elected officials start to believe that all decisions are stemming from them, and if they do, they're fools. The power is with the people, and the role of the government is to support that, is to support our growth. It's all about equal opportunities and providing the means and the path to that. I want to stay out of your way and prop you up when you need it. That's the role of the government at every level. And probably it gets a little too big. I want to keep work local. We're talking a lot about that, working together. The infrastructure, the traffic, that's a county-wide issue. Going up to 15 and 215, I commute, I make that drive, and it's horrible, it's awful. Again, that affects quality of life. That's less time I'm with my family. I can't volunteer to do some of the things I want to do. I want to coach again. But with the drive, I can't make it to practice. There's things that are missing. So these are things that we need to do to get work local for us. That'll help mitigate the traffic. And we've talked about many of the different reasons and ways of doing it. agree with the partnerships. I definitely want to make partnerships with the cities around us, and even the other counties work together. Southern California is a beacon compared to, I would say, the rest of California. So I'm not running for the title. I already have the two best titles, husband and father. That's my pride.
I talked about service in my introductory remarks, and I talked about a little bit of my background. But as a senior officer, I have a lot of experiences that translate to public service, and specifically budgeting. I understand how to manage multi-million-dollar budgets. I have done so. I know how to establish priorities. And those are some of the mechanics that I just wanted to make sure I stated. However, I want to also share another part. My background, similar to Brian from Lake Elsinore, I've been all over the world. I think I too have been to, I think I can say all 50 states and over 100 countries. I've lived among other cultures. I have one very vivid memory I can share of, as a Christian man being on my knee praying right next to Saudi Arabian Marines, praying to their God as we were getting ready to cross the Bergen to Kuwait in 1991. And many of us didn't know if we'd be alive that night.
Chances are that you won't be able to talk to President Obama about changes you'd like to make. Chances are that you won't be able to talk to Feinstein or Boxer. Chances are that you won't be able to talk to Ken Calvert. But the chances are very great that you will be able to talk to me. The chances are that you and I can sit down over soda and you can tell me some of the concerns and some of the changes you'd like to see made. Chances are we might be able to come up with a new policy or an ordinance that would address your concerns. And failing that, chances are that maybe we could even talk about organizing some kind of a demonstration of like-minded people to bring some publicity to your concern. So, who knows, once your goal is achieved in Murrieta, that we could keep pushing until Temecula catches fire and Lake Elsinore, and so that it spreads from town to town and city to city across this land from sea to shining sea. So to me, it should be abundantly clear by now that change is better accomplished from the bottom up than from the top down. But I'm here to tell you that the power of the government is in you. So what is it to be born free and not to live free? Leap forward with Leaper.
When you now will recognize the N.A.A.C.P. when we come to your city council meetings to make announcements about events that we are hosting, you'll recognize us, and I appreciate that. Okay, I'd like to turn this back to...
Open to each one of you so that we can work together to make this area a better community for everybody involved. I believe that Congress needs to work very closely with local cities and counties, and that's something that I will institute when I'm elected to Congress. I'm running because Congress doesn't work well. It's broken, and we can do better. And I would ask for your support as well. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody.
How can we honor them who remind us that we share the same roots that grow deep in the earth's veins, by friendships that constitute that we are originally related to each other, by standing together against those who would pollute with chemical oppression or emotional abuse, as God will destroy nations who destroy the earth. Their brother they call freedom, their sister they call peace. Their words ring throughout the land, and love was in their heart. We are all related to each other because we are children of the Creator, and all belong upliftment. For children of God, respond without violence. As they have obtained the power from the enemy.
Thank you again, Alan Long, running for City Council in Murrieta.
And so, you know, those are the things I'm concerned with. You know, I'm running for the little person because it's the little person who's supposed to be running the government. And the only reason why we feel little is because the power of the government makes us feel that way. But I'm here
Today, foreclosures are nearly non-existent. Home values have increased by 50% in the last 3 years in some areas of our town. On my job in the fire service, I'm on part of a team that creates a $1.7 billion budget, that's B billion, and my part to manage is $66 million in the fire service. We've added special needs services in Murrieta. Last year, that was my program. I identified 1,000 families in the city of Murrieta that had to go outside the city for their recreational classes because we didn't have the properly trained instructors. We matched up with Lily's House. We offer those classes today. Revenue's been up for the fourth quarter in the city of Murrieta. In fact, the last quarter we had $500,000 in excess revenue. We've maintained one of the safest cities in the nation. The Inland Empire Economic Partnership Committee voted Murrieta the #1 economic development city in business creation and retention. That's out of 38 cities in both San Bernardino and Riverside County. We were voted the #1 city to raise a young family. Our schools are top 10 in the nation, and I'm proud to be endorsed by both the police and fire agencies. Some of you still may remember me as your counselor, your coach, commissioner, fire captain, paramedic, or fire chief.
Hi, good afternoon. Cecily Nelson, running for Temecula City. That without income, without keeping the people in our communities and not just having them stay overnight before they have to commute into LA, Orange County, San Diego, or whatever it is, it's not going to matter whether or not our public safety is important for me that you understand that I'm not being groomed by anyone. I'm not benefited from anything other than wanting to volunteer and raise my hand. I think that, I am bringing the fresh eyes. Stability doesn't mean incumbency. It's not synonymous. Stability can come from someone who's new to the game. So I'll admit that, and you can pin that on me if you'd like, but it's not representative of inexperience either. So conversely, it's not synonymous with that. I have 20 years of business experience. I have a tremendous amount of education, and all I care about are my neighbors, the people that are seeking out my services as a real estate agent, the people that I volunteer with, that I grocery shop with, that I go to the bank with. Those are people that are your neighbors, that are you, if you are from Temecula.
So, we all come here from different backgrounds, I think, right? And I'll give you a little bit of background where I came from. I didn't just happen here by accident. I grew up in a low-income family, single mother raising 2 sons in Reno, Nevada. We had a lot of struggles. I saw my mom working full-time, making minimum wage, putting herself through school so she'd become a registered nurse, and set up at least a solid foundation for me and my brother to move forward in our own lives. My brother proudly served in the Marine Corps and is now serving in law enforcement in the Sheriff's Department in Washington State. I chose a slightly different path. I did a bachelor's and a master's degree at University of Nevada, Reno, did my PhD at UC Davis and my law degree at University of San Diego. So I decided to collect the whole set, right? But it was important because I saw education for me as a pathway to a different type of future, right? In low-income housing, the community I grew up with, I saw issues with environmental justice, being burdened with transportation corridors, waste transfer facilities, poor public schools, underfunded police and fire protection. That inspired me throughout my last 20 years of my career to tackle some of the most fundamental questions that our region faces, including energy, water resources, open space and parks, transportation. All of these sorts of issues, and public safety included, really do make up the core of what our community is today. And so I come to the City Council in a very different background, a very different perspective, and a very different type of leadership, right? I know what it takes to move forward. you know, we talked in Temecula a lot about the can-do attitude, right? That can-do attitude is a very important thing, but you have to be given those opportunities, right? You have to be able to have people who are there to support you along the way. It doesn't just happen by itself. And so I'm proud of where I am today, and I'm proud of the city of Temecula in the last 25 years of what they've been able to accomplish. You know, there's a lot that still needs to be done. We still need to be able to ensure proper levels of public safety and protection. We need to maintain our quality of life. You know, I see education, like a lot of our colleagues here do, as a great opportunity for Southwest County. And so yes, we absolutely need to work together with our community and with our sister city, Murrieta, and all the communities in Southwest County to move these initiatives forward. You know, no, we're not quite where we need to be with the economy, or with the housing market, or with prices, or unemployment.